I wanted to go back to what Hink said and what I've been saying from the beginning. We can disagree as women all we want, but if what Cloud and Hank are saying is their reality, and we're talking about being wives and dating history and running credit reports, then that's just what it is. If you're trying to be a wife, if they gonna judge you from your mistakes when you're 18, that's what he gonna do. That and he don't like it, then that he not for you. That he don't want you. That's just what it is. So I think we're missing the connection of the questions. Why do women choose the bad guy? We answer, and then they give us their take on it, but their take on it is how they see it. So when it comes to them picking a wife, that's how they see it. Am I wrong? Like
Go
it's
ahead. Go ahead, Angie. Like you wanted to, you disagree with what she said?
I just think that a lot of time when you speak on things, it comes from a place. Well, I've only been on the panel with you a couple of times, but when you speak on things, it's from the point of like being validated by males instead of like understanding that regardless of what someone else's opinion might be, that does not hold it as being true. Now they can feel that way, but that doesn't mean that would be the type of man that I would want to, that I necessarily respect to even receive what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's entitled to their opinion, but if you understand things, you have to understand like what lane and what mental level a person is on before you start trying to say, oh, because he said this or because these men on this panel is saying this, then this is the measure or the mark to where things should be measured. I just kind of feel like I disagree with that a lot.
I was just trying to flow with the questions, Jr., and figure out how where the panel is going. That's actually the first time I've been accused of being the one that was looking for uh JR, did you hear that? Looking for approval from the males. I'm usually cussing they motherfucking ass out. So yeah, you definitely don't know me, sis. But it's cool. I'm just trying to be on a different vibe level today. I'm not that person. I'm just trying to be on a different vibe today, and follow what the clear path that I see that this conversation going on with the way Jr. has these questions laid out. I'm trying to be a good panelist at the beginning of this new year, but no, I am not that chick. If you go back, he don't post a lot of my highlights because I am cussing somebody out. You can ask anybody on here.
So the
Shoot, she be
thing is,
cussing me out.
what's the problem? What's the problem? Because everything else in life you judge on your past. But you're going by we shouldn't judge a person on their past. When you get a job, you judge on your work history. When you trying to apply for credit, you judge on your financial history. When you apply for anything, you judge on your past. So, but you don't judge my relationship past. You shouldn't judge me because that's my past, and that's what I did when I was 18. When you was 18, they're gonna judge your financial past. They're gonna judge your credit on your financial past. Everything's being judged on your past. But I guess
If you
relationship,
commit a
and maybe
crime,
that's our problem. Maybe that's our problem. Not enough men are judging women off their past because you should do that. Her past is going to determine her future. If she didn't learn from what she was doing 18 to 21 to 25, and she continues to do that, I need to judge on that. And if I don't judge on that, I'm a fool for falling for the banana in the tailpipe. That's on me. I got to live with that bullshit, and I don't want to take no more losses.
I think
I just
y'all are
want to throw
missing
something in
each
the. Okay.
other's point. I think y'all are in agreement, but missing each other's point. I think what's going on is that Hink, you're absolutely right. You do have to take the past into consideration. But I think what Angie is saying is that if I am at a stage in my life that I'm at 33 and I'm no longer making the same mistakes that I was making at 18, you can't say, oh, well, at 18 you did this, but you meet me at 33 and you see that I'm not moving like that. And we're having conversation and I tell you something that I did at 18, and now you're trying to judge me based on what I did at 18. And I am so not moving the way that I was at 18. You can't necessarily say, oh, I can't, oh, she's going to continue to move like that. because the way that I'm moving currently in my present doesn't reflect what my past was. Because if that's the
But they
case,
can though.
people, no, they can take it. No, I'm not saying you can't take it into account. Because if that's the case, every person who's been divorced should never be remarried, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I
Well, it
mean,
depends on
so
why
you
they got
would hope
divorced.
that a person who's been divorced have learned, have grown from, and learned from mistakes from their previous relationships to then the new person that they've met now have seen that growth and now they move differently, right? So you should take it to take it to account. The red flag will be if they say that they've changed, but yet you still see those same characteristics reoccurring at the state that they said, well, I've healed and I'm no longer like that, but yet you still see that same behavior.
And you're judging
You know
the
what I'm
past
Okay,
saying?
from
let
the
me.
state.
Can I ask a question?
And you're
So I want
judging
to
the
ask a question
past.
here.
You
I've
do,
had my
and you
hand
don't
raised.
agree with. You don't agree with Andrew.
Hold on,
Oh, my
hold
bad.
on, Hank. Hold on. This Cloud did have his
Yeah,
hand raised. Go ahead. Cloud.
yeah. So my
Okay.
question would be this then. Okay, so I know you're married, but let's say you weren't married. You know, you're single. You're in the dating market. You meet a nice guy, well spoken, well dressed, very calm, doesn't seem to show signs of anger, but he tells you, "I'm divorced because I beat my last two wives. I've been to jail. I've been to jail. I did 10 years for aggravated assault. I did 3 years for one domestic violence case. I did 5 years for another domestic violence. And yeah, the reason why my last wife divorced me because I beat her so bad that I broke her shoulder. Now, maybe him and his wife divorced 10 years ago. He's been to jail and he's done his time. But if you're on a date with a man who's looking to marry you and he tells you that he beat his last wives' asses, are you going to judge him based off of that? Or are you going to say, you know what, because he's well spoken and he hasn't whooped my ass, maybe that's not the type of guy he is, and give him a shot?
I just said you have to take everything into account. I did not say that you don't take it into account. I said if he is currently moving in the same way, not he, but
No,
if
no, but
they're
I'm saying he's
currently
not currently
moving
moving
in
the
the
same way.
same way, then of course I'm not going to even consider that, right?
No, but I'm saying
Everybody
he's not
does.
currently moving that way. He just has a long rap sheet and he hasn't whooped the woman's ass for 10 years. He did his jail time, but in his youth,
For me
he was
personally, no, I
knocking bitches
wouldn't.
out.
Of
I'm saying
course.
like knowing. Okay.
Of course I wouldn't.
Okay.
I
I
mean,
mean,
of
I
course
think
I wouldn't.
this
I
is
would not listen. I would not. I mean, let's keep it
I
real.
got
I
you,
would
T.
not put myself in that situation, and that's up to
Why judge him?
everybody's. Hold on, that would be up to everybody's discretion. What I'm saying is, you do have to weigh each situation as it is. You're going to an extreme situation. I get it, to prove a point. What Angie is saying is just in general terms and general conversation. If what you're doing at 18, like you have people that sold, like where I was from, you had dudes that sold drugs. That was a normal thing, right? Where I was from, they sold drugs, right? That was the norm. If they did something like that at 18 and now I'm 33 and we're in general conversation and they're like, well, yeah, I got locked up at 18 because I was selling drugs. But
See,
now that is not their lifestyle. They don't live like that. I'm going to take that into account and see how they're moving now. And from 18, if they've been to college, they've held down a stable job, they're, seeming family oriented. I'm looking how they move. That is not necessarily going, I'm gonna take that into account, but I'm gonna keep watching how they move. And I
but
think I would still move forward with that. That's not going to be
see,
something that would stop me from
okay.